Hi there, I'm Dana Renton and I'm editor here at Feroce, and I'm going to be taking you through examples of editorials that we have made cover, and I'm going to explain to you the different reasons and the different elements that we were looking for when we picked our cover for that month and how that submission met those requirements and more. This particular cover is the August Volume 2 2021 cover. The editorial is called Rotten Flora. It's by photographer heathluca, model Junjun Huang, makeup artist Qin Li, set designer Juan, assistant Claire Lynn, wardrobe Shui Zheng. I adored this feature. It's probably one of the best submissions that we've ever gotten, despite it not fitting into your typical requirements of an editorial or a submission to a fashion publication, what with like a lack of looks or whatever. What this submission lacked in quantity, it more than made up in quality, hands down. So I'm going to take you through the the images that were in this entire feature and explain what was good about them, but mostly why we picked a particular image for the cover. This is the perfect location for the theme of Flora. We expect that editorial titles make sense, and when people create work for us based on a concept, we like every element of that submission to just make sense. So it makes sense here that the model, the rotten flora, so to speak, is amongst nature. A range of lighting techniques, including long exposure, were used in this feature. We like to see a lot of different things, switching up. If you've only got one look, for example, then try and shoot it in a couple of different ways to make that go a little bit further. Now, this photo is just beautiful. You can tell that this has been shot at night, but none of the quality is missing out of it. Um, the design here, the set design, and the way that these colors match the colors of the garments, incredible. Love it. The vastness of these massive floral props, just amazing. This has beautiful lighting. The model is crisp and clear despite it being a nighttime shoot. It's color graded well, nothing's overbearing. We don't like when there's too harsh an edit on things. Sometimes less is more. Like with color gel photography, yeah, go wild. But in this particular instance, when you're bringing massive set design and really unique garments, you don't need to go that hard with your photography. This, I'm not sure if it's been shot in a studio or outside, but it still fits either way. I think it shows off the makeup artist, their work really well. This has a flawless retouch. The skin texture is intact, there's no stray hairs. The makeup colors match the garments. Love that attention to detail. And the themes and like the visual themes of the makeup match the fluidity of the dress or the outfit that she's wearing. Really like that. And the posing from this model was just great. Sometimes if you have a concept that is as strong as this, you don't need to be doing anything fancy as a model. What you're holding, what you're wearing, how your makeup is, the shoot shoots itself, so to speak. Another couple of images from this editorial, just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I love the diagonal sort of composition on the left image here, just great. And I love that I can still see the details of the garments as well and the empty space behind the model. Got a long exposure here, the red shadow kind of aura behind her. Love that. And another incredible massive flower, just amazing. And the little flowers on the ground too. It it just makes sense. It just makes sense. This image is also incredible. It has space at the top for our logo, or that we can edit for our logo behind. if, sometimes if you can't fit the model and what they're holding and everything else, then we can put our logo behind instead of just sitting on top. It depends how detailed or how textured everything is. If it would take away from the cover image to put our logo over the top, then we'll try and put it behind the subject. But you know, it's not too busy behind the model either. It's only a couple of colors. If there were a whole bunch of colors, like the colors that are in the massive flower here, that would be too much, and that would kind of, depending on the hues involved, that would potentially disqualify an image from being cover. Another great composition, the rule of thirds, well observed here. A huge impact with the set design and the garment design, and the pastel hues of the clothes stand out, sorry, from the background. If the model was wearing dark clothes, this just wouldn't work out. It wouldn't have as much impact. And finally, this was the cover image that we chose. And you might be wondering, why did you pick that when there's this massive flower here? Wouldn't that have went against what you said? And the answer is no, because our logo is clearly distinguishable from what's behind it. But if we had put this big flower in front of our logo, it would have obscured more than one letter. If something obscures more than one letter of the logo, then that usually disqualifies it from cover. So, in bullet points, why this image for cover? It has the empty space behind the main subject, great composition, the diagonal lines that I mentioned earlier, and it is perfectly on brand for the morbid, edgy brand that we have. Anything that's dark, and not just dark aesthetically, but dark conceptually, something that wouldn't usually be published in the mainstream fashion industry. We love it. The more morbid, the better. The more outlandish, the better. This was, simple. I think there's maybe only one outfit throughout this entire feature, but it was the set design and all of those other elements that I mentioned. You can tell that this team really came together and everybody brought their A game that day. So thanks a lot to this team. And I hope you've enjoyed this video explaining why we picked this for the August Volume 2 cover.